Us on this edition of the news today, Friday. Right away, we begin with some major stories as usual. President Paul Biya of Cameroon officially opens the 15th ordinary session of heads of state of CEMAC member countries today in Yaoundé. They are to discuss several issues blocking the speed to sub-regional integration, among others. Plus, the Gabonese Minister for Transport has resigned after over 20 persons, including Cameroonians, died in a shipwreck some days back. Viewers, those are our major stories. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for being with us on this edition of the news. My name is Anna Bilaleke. We begin with this story in politics. The opening ceremony of heads of states of countries within the CEMAC sub-region took place earlier today in Cameroon's political capital, Yaoundé, and was presided over by President Paul Biya of Cameroon as the presidents of Chad, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, the Central African Republic, and Cameroon meet to deliberate on issues concerning the CEMAC sub-region. Several obstacles are said to be slowing down the sub-regional integration process. Reason the CEMAC zone is still lagging as compared to some West African countries or West Africa as a whole. In the report which comes up next, Babila Jonathan looks at the CEMAC zone integration process.
Close to 30 years after the creation of the Economic and Monetary Community of Central Africa, CEMAC, the hope of integration of the sub-region's member states is yet to gain full steam. Before the creation of CEMAC in 1994, faced many challenges in the preceding 30 years. Over the years, CEMAC has recorded some advances, however qualified by some analysts as below expectation considering its integration calendar and the distance covered by other regions of the African continent, including West Africa. The problems faced by integration in the CEMAC sub-region have been attributed to limited technical capacity, the divergent attitude of the mission, and sometimes the absence of sanctions against states which do not respect community norms. The free movement of persons and goods, for instance, has not been fully effective over 10 years after the member states signed an agreement in 2013. Countries like Equatorial Guinea, Chad, and Gabon took years to open up their borders to free movement into and out of their territories. Equatorial Guinea has now removed the last obstacle. In compliance with the agreement signed in 2013 on free movement in Central Africa, an official document reveals that Equatorial Guinea had decided since October 17, 2017 to waive visa requirements for CEMAC countries' citizens who hold valid passports. There are now 5 countries, Chad, Central African Republic, Congo, Gabon, and Equatorial Guinea, which have made official the implementation of the prescription about free movement within the CEMAC zone. Cameroonian authorities said that President Biya's country had already been applying the principle of reciprocity. This means the removal of visa requirements for countries which waive visa requirements for Cameroonians.
And so we will be telling you more about the meeting of the heads of states of CEMAC member countries that would be at 8 p.m. with our reporters in Yaoundé. Now we take you to the far north region of the country where residents of Mayo Muskota say Boko Haram activities have caused them so much pain and suffering. Many who now seek refuge on mountain tops and forests say they are unable to feed their families after their farms were burnt down. Let's now have more with Immaculate Fogwe.
Muskota, a locality in the Mayo-Tanaga division, far north region, is among those localities hardest hit by rising insecurity perpetrated by the Boko Haram terrorist sect since 2014. The activities of the terrorist group has led to several deaths, kidnappings for ransom, and the burning of houses. So many youths in Mayo Muskota are unemployed. This is because several farms were destroyed. Many of those who used to travel to the north and buy goods can't do so again because of security threats. The sporadic attacks has resulted to forceful displacement, with residents now seeking refuge on mountains and in the forest. The harsh climatic conditions in these areas has caused many to fall sick. Those who now live on the mountains, especially the children, often fall sick. This is because of the harsh climatic condition. Many of these children are now suffering with asthma or either cough and catarrh. Several students traumatized by the violence can no longer go to school, given that activities are now paralyzed in the area. Other challenges faced by the population are limited access to potable water and quality health services. These problems were raised during the visit of the junior parliamentarian of the area. I know the challenges faced by my people. Over 100 young people have been killed by Boko Haram fighters. My people are suffering. The population of Mario Moscota urging the government to reinforce security in the area in order to ensure their safety.
And now from the far north region, we move down a little to the east region in Betua, where a Catholic priest whose name we got as Reverend Father Emilien Messina of the Holy Spirit Parish in Pokolota, Betua, has died in hospital while he was still serving his prison term at the Betua Central Prison. The priest was accused of sexual assault on minors in Betua. He died in hospital after a prolonged illness. Lucy Liengu is here, has the details.
Reverend Father Emilien Messina was detained on May 2022 at the Betua Central Prison for charges of youth corruption and sexual assault. The 48-year-old parish priest of Saint-Esprit Chateau de Betua in Pokolota tried severally to justify his innocence on several occasions during his pre-trial detention. While in detention, Reverend Father Emilien Messina fell seriously sick and was taken to the Betua Regional Hospital, where he gave up the ghost. The memories, according to some of his Christians, are still very fresh.
L'abbé Messina Emilien a été mon curé.
Abbé Messina was a priest at the parish Saint-Esprit Chateau.
Et je l'ai connu comme étant
I knew him like someone who was highly spiritual and dedicated to his Christians. The situation, which brought shame to the Roman Catholic Church, prompted a reaction of the Bishop of Betua and others to sign a decree on May 18, 2022, prohibiting Emilien Messina from taking part in any activity in the pastoral ministry. As Christians, this is really affecting us. We can't do anything but wait for justice to take its course. In a communique signed by the Director of Communications at the Diocese of Betua, His Lordship Joseph announces the death of Reverend Father Messina, extends his condolences to the bereaved family and friends, while inviting Christians to pray for his repose. Native of the Central region, Reverend Father Messina was in the ministry for 15 years before he was detained.
May his soul rest in peace. Now we take you to the Northwest Regional Headquarters of Bamenda, where soldiers of the 5th Gendarmerie Region have been told to work towards achieving peace in the trouble-hit Northwest Region. The call was made by the commander of the 5th Gendarmerie Region, Brigadier General Husseini Jibo. Let's now have more with our Northwest-based regional correspondent, Bustela.
Soldiers in the Northwest region have since 2016 been engaged in several battles with separatist fighters. The fighters want a separate territory, but the troops have been battling with them to protect the territorial boundaries of the Republic of Cameroon, threatened by the actions of the separatists. This has not come without personal sacrifices, as some of the soldiers have paid with their own lives. These ones are gathered here to recount the successes they have achieved and also wish each other a better 2023. As the officers shook hands in a military style at the command post of the 5th Gendarmerie Region, they are reminded to shun unpatriotic attitudes.
La crise va finir. les anglophones disent no condition is permanent. Mais avant que la crise ne finisse, il y a ceux qui seront fiers d'avoir participé, d'avoir posé leur petite pierre à l'édification de ce qu'on appelle la paix dans le nord-ouest et dans le sud-ouest. Mais il y a ceux qui vont baisser la tête. Parce que chaque fois qu'on leur dit de venir à Bamenda, ils vont chercher les modèles 8 pour dire qu'ils ne veulent pas venir à Bamenda. Je n'aime pas avoir des gendarmes qui sont malheureux, qui ne sont pas fiers d'eux. Quand vous voulez rentrer dans ce corps de métier, vous êtes content. Tout le monde. Mais le jour où on vous a recruté, vous dites que vous ne voulez pas aller, vous choisissez les postes. Partout où le devoir vous appelle, vous devez aller. Et comme vous venez d'arriver, le contingent qui vient d'arriver, je vous demande la discipline. Soyez disciplinés.
The commander of the 5th Gendarmerie Region, Brigadier General Husseini Jebo, also saluted the efforts of the soldiers of the 5th Gendarmerie Region, comprising of soldiers from the road traffic and intervention units and the Northwest and West Legions of the National Gendarmerie.
And talking about security in Buea, that is in the southwest region of the country, that was 2 days ago, the corpses of some 2 gentlemen alleged to be separatist fighters were displayed somewhere around Bumaka in Buea, and the family members debunked any allegations that the corpses of their sons who were killed were separatist fighters. We will surely be coming back to that in our subsequent news editions. Now we take you out of our national frontiers. We told you in the headlines, viewers, that Gabon's transport minister has stepped down from his position this Thursday. This comes 1 week after more than 20 people, among them Cameroonians, were killed in a ferry accident that sparked outrage across the West African country. And there is tension in Senegal as Ousmane Sonko faced the court over charges of rape and death threats. A roundup of these stories and more with Mala Glory.
An information which came from the presidency did not say why Brice Payet handed his resignation letter, but there was widespread calls for his resignation over the sinking of the Esther Miracle ferry close to the coastal village of Nous on March 9th. The boat was carrying 161 passengers from Libreville to Port-Gentil. Although there are unconfirmed reports more people were on board and that it was overloaded with goods. Rescue teams have so far pulled 21 dead bodies from the wreckage and confirmed 31 are still missing. Transport infrastructure is poorly developed in Gabon, a sparsely populated forestry country where over 30% of the population lives in poverty. And over to Senegal, where opposition leader Ousmane Sonko, who came third in the country's last presidential election, has made way to court where he faces defamation trial. His convoy was flocked by crowds of supporters this Thursday, and police officers formed barricades to keep the crowd back. Sonko is being sued by Tourism Minister Mame Mbaye Niang for defamation, insult and forgery. He also faces separate charges of rape and making death threats. Sonko has denied the charges and accused authorities of trying to silence him and his party with arbitrary. On Wednesday, police fired tear gas at legislators seeking to reach him in his Dakar home amid growing political tension. Sonko's confinement comes amid growing tension a year ahead of Senegal's presidential election, raising fears of violence in a state reputed for stability.
And now we talk sports. The FIFA Under-17 World Cup will now be played annually, and the number of clubs to participate at the FIFA World Cup will also increase. These declarations were made by the president of the World Football Governing Body, FIFA, Gianni Infantino, after he was re-elected at the 73rd FIFA Elective Congress in Kigali, Rwanda on Thursday. Several other changes have also been announced in FIFA tournament, as you tell us, Smart Ndikan Gabriel.
I'm now calling on the Congress to give a round of applause to elect Gianni Infantino as the FIFA president for the period from 2023 to 2027.
Giovanni Vincenzo Infantino has been re-elected to serve a second term as FIFA's president in an unopposed election that took place during the 73rd FIFA Congress in Kigali, Rwanda. For the next 4 years as the president of the global football governing body, some new laws have been enacted. Amongst them, the FIFA Under-17 World Cup in the boys and girls categories will be played on an annual basis, as well as the launch of the FIFA World Series and the revised 32-team FIFA Club World Cup. The intention is to give more teams from every confederation more opportunities to compete on the global stage. For the upcoming FIFA Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand later this year, the Swiss lawyer, now FIFA's president, Giovanni Vincenzo Infantino, says there will be an increase of over $150 million, which is equivalent to 92,601,300,000 francs CFA in prize money, more than 3 times the value from the tournament in 2019 and 10 times more than in 2015. During the 73rd elective FIFA Congress that was attended by 208 delegates from member associations, it was disclosed that during the first 7 years of Giovanni Vincenzo Infantino at the helm of FIFA, the global football governing body recorded a huge income. Notwithstanding the juicy reforms coming from FIFA, members of the World League Forum disagreed with the decisions of FIFA, saying that the global football governing body took the decisions without consulting them. And more to that, the calendar of activities is already overcharged. The players were not also taken into consideration after 119 years with already 172 elective Congress held. This was the first time in the history of FIFA that an elective FIFA Congress was holding on African soil.
Thank you, Smart. And the changes that were announced by the president of FIFA, Gianni Infantino, after his re-election have met with stiff oppositions. According to the World League Forum, FIFA hasn't consulted them for the changes to be made. In his acceptance speech, Gianni Infantino says let all support him in his new mandate. Let's now listen to him in this excerpt, which was selected for us by Smart, Dick and Gabriel.
Being, of course, president of FIFA is an incredible honor. It is an incredible privilege as well. And it is also a great responsibility. I'm truly humbled and touched by your support, and I simply promise you that I will continue serving FIFA, serving football all over the world, serving all 211 member associations of FIFA. Leadership is obviously about listening and learning. And you always learn, and I think I'm learning every day. And then leadership is also about acting, and I'm certainly there to act. So you can continue to trust on my commitment, and the only thing I'm asking you is for this, my second term, to continue working hard together to unite the world with football.
Gianni Infantino speaking in Rwanda, Kigali, Rwanda, after his re-election at the head of the world governing body, FIFA. Viewers, that was what we put together for you today on the news. Thank you so much for always being there. Don't go away. As usual, our programs continue. In about 35 minutes, you will be served with Equinoxe and the news in the French language with Juliette Beth Bissai. That would be at 8 p.m. Enjoy your weekend in the company of programs on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now.
Equinoxe Télévision, au-delà de l'image, nous rendons compte.
If you suspect